Truth Provider, how are you? Okay. Just need a couple seconds here to get things going. I know this is weird when you watch it on replay. YouTube doesn't allow you to clip off the beginning. Like generally I'd have a countdown timer and all this stuff, but there's no way to take it out that I'm aware of so far. Be great if they did that. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's see, we got our topic list. 800 number should be live. If anybody wants to call in and ask a question, go in the, make sure that's clickable. Chet, how you doing there, bud? Good to see you. What's happening with you guys? Just make sure that the sure this is clickable. And it is. Okay, all set. Got the night off? Good, good, good. How's your sauna stuff going? What's going on with you? I'm not sure what the turnout's going to be like tonight. I don't know if Florida has been awesome lately, actually. The weather has been phenomenal. Not really sure why. It's been cooler than normal. Usually it's full on summer weather, but it has been beautiful. Tonight was great. And yeah, breezy, high 70s. Pretty nice. How about where you guys are? Need to get to using the sauna more? Are you off your schedule? 60s and cloudy. That's even better. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice and cool. It was in Maine. Was it a week ago now or was it 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. It's all blending together. But it was nice and cool. 38 some nights, so that was refreshing. Back in that time, it had been in the 80s and 90s in Florida, and it was brutally hot. So anything to get a break from that. But everything should be operational, guys. If anybody wants to call in and grab a call, the 800 number is in the YouTube description, and I'll also put it in the live chat. If you're on mobile, should be able to. Whoops, not that number. Yowzers. Okay. Dieting hard, lost weight. Use the sauna, be even better. Awesome. Thanks, Doug. Truth Provider. Good to see you guys. We might not get too many call-ins tonight. I'm not sure if the I sent out a lot of emails, people that I wasn't able to get back to. I told them to call in for the live show tonight, ask their questions live, just easier. A lot of times I'm trying to do this show once a week. Last week on Tuesday. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. Last week on Tuesday, I was in the air at this time, was flying back to Florida, so it was impossible to do the show. But the goal is to do every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you guys have questions that I'm unable to answer via email, if nobody calls in, we do have some topics to cover tonight. There's three main ones. They seem to be a theme lately. The first one is on Sunlighten saunas, updates for 2021. The second one is on full spectrum saunas and the changes for 2021. And the third is the best sauna for health problems. People keep asking about this quite a bit. I find this probably the most interesting question because it's not a particular sauna or gadget or feature of a particular model that's going to make it the best sauna for health problems. The thing that makes saunas help people so much is oops, let me make sure that's on, is the heat therapy. So whichever saunas are geared towards doing that the most, that's going to give you the best benefit. Let's see who we have here. Hello. Yes, you're live. Who am I speaking to? Hello. 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 I'm not sure who that is. We'll let him call back. Guys, when you call in, you have to either mute or silence the video on your end. Otherwise, there's just a feedback loop. You're talking into a microphone, and then your phone or TV or device is also creating a feedback of the live video that you're watching, so that it becomes a duplicate. You have to mute that on your side. There's nothing I can do about that on mine. Hey, Scott, how are you? Can you talk about the differences and benefits of 100% full spectrum versus 50% or versus none? You want to call in and explain that? That would be easier for me. Jewel C. If you don't feel like calling in or you don't want to be on the air, that's fine. I need you to be a little bit more specific, though. I don't really understand the benefits of 100% full spectrum versus 50. I'm not following. Scott says, set up my Radiant Health Sauna. I've used it 3 times so far. I love it. Awesome. Chat, have you lost some weight? A little bit. Not enough. Jewel C overseas. Okay. I'm happy to help you through the chat, but I need you to get a little bit more specific. Can you tell me exactly what the products are that you're talking about, or the type? Hello? Just a second. How about now?
Sure. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. I'm not sure if you're live taping now. Just wanted to confirm that.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot for taking my call. My name is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And I'm calling from Chicago. And I'm not sure how many minutes, but please just cut me off when it's time, because I'm sure there are a lot of other people who are going to have questions and are working on their health and things. So let's see. Thanks for everything that you've done so far. All of the work that I've been trying to dig into very recently. You've been doing things for a long time, a lot of hours, and I know my health journey has already benefited from some of the things you've put out there. So thank you for that up front.
You're welcome.
And also I apologize. There's a little bit of a delay, so I'll do my best with that.
Sounds good on my end.
About a year ago. Oh, okay, very good. About a year ago, after having symptoms, we discovered, I found out that I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, autoimmune condition, and I also had crashed adrenals. And I was working with a functional medicine doc out of state at the time, and we did make progress. We started treating me and that sort of thing. However, I wanted to dig deeper. I wanted to get to the root cause. And to this day, I want to try and reduce or eliminate or get off the meds if I can get myself healthy enough that things are working well enough. And last fall, with COVID and everything else, this state changed the rules for out-of-state medical providers. So I got a new healthcare provider in state. And that's the time that, and kind of what I could afford as time was going on too, in terms of cost, because all this stuff is out of pocket. And I finally got to do the heavy metals test, a heavy metals test. And I did it prior to maybe doing as much due diligence or prior to the way I would do it now, which was, it was a provoked test, with DMSA. And I'll tell you, I felt like hell after, that day I felt okay, but the day after I felt like hell. And that was definitely a warning sign to me. And then I studied it and studied Chris Shade's stuff and Quicksilver a little bit. And I was like, man, I wouldn't take a provoking agent again for a guy like me. That's my own personal stuff, but I wouldn't do it again that way. But we found that I have high levels of mercury, probably from my amalgams that were removed about 10 years ago, lead, thallium, and cesium. So I'm even a little bit radioactive. And so this was late last year, and I wanted to get started on things relatively quickly. So I did some homework. Unfortunately, I didn't come across you and all the information you put out, but I did want to begin sauna, even though adrenals were crashed. But I was doing things that I could to try and support my adrenals. But I chose, for a few different reasons, and this isn't a brag. In fact, I kind of wish hindsight is 2020. I wish things were a little different, but due to space in my house, cost, and what was available last fall, or actually it was winter at this point, I ended up finding and purchasing a used Sunlighten solo dome sauna. And so recently I come across you, and I've listened, not to everything by any means, and I haven't spent enough time on the website. I've dug into some, but not as much as I would like to have at this point. And I will probably, because I do have an EMF meter, and I bought the Sunlighten Solo, and then they claim that it's low EMF, and it's not. That's not, and you know it's not, and now I know it's not too. I put the meter on it today after listening to some of the other videos that you put on YouTube, and so I will be upgrading because EMF is a concern of mine. I think some folks aren't concerned about it, or they don't have issues, but what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to identify as many target areas of my life that I can target to improve, to help myself feel better and hopefully live longer too. So as far as where I am in my own journey, and I'm grateful for being able to speak with you tonight, but based on the things that I've shared with you, are there, the other thing I wanted to mention was this second functional medicine doc that I'm seeing that's in state. They did start me on a few things, Pectisol C and spirulina, and GI. It's called GI Detox, but it's kind of a blend of a binder. So it does have zeolite and aloe vera and charcoal. It does have some charcoal, and it doesn't say coconut fiber charcoal either. Silica, apple pectin, humic acid, fulvic acid. So it's a blend, which the second functional medicine doc, I mean, everybody has their specialties and their ways of doing things. But with an appointment with that doc, I can't go into, I have an hour, and then if I have more questions after that hour, I get another appointment and I pay again. So I kind of have limited access that way. I am on the right track, and I even learned things today from you about the timing of taking binders and so forth throughout the day and relative to sauna use. So I am tuning that up as well. But based on all of this diatribe that I just went on, are there any things that stand out to you based on your personal experience that I might be able to apply to what I'm working on, that I might save myself some headaches or some hassles or some time?
Yeah, I'm not 100% clear on what you've done, or how much you've used sauna plus binder therapy. I mean, has it been, a few times, weeks, months, years? Where are you at with it?
Okay, so I started using the sauna in January. I use it the first week. I did not use it 3 times a week, but since then it's either 3 or 4 times a week. Essentially, it's every other day. And the binders, I've been using them for essentially the same period of time.
Okay, and has that changed anything, positive or negative?
So I've noticed interesting things. For example, shortly after starting the sauna, I I got rashes under both of my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And then those resolved.
Yep.
And then I got another rash around my navel, around my belly button.
Mm-hmm.
And that has slowly resolved. I do sleep better now that I've begun sauna, and I'm a night, well, with crashed adrenal, for folks who may not be aware of that. I mean, for me, the experience is it's rough getting up in the morning and being energized.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't do well until I take a nap, and
Right.
then I get up. Then I'm up and going. Therefore, I do not like to do the sauna early in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I do it in the evening.
That's fine.
So let's see. Did I answer your question?
Kind of. So when you first started the sauna and you were doing it initially, you were also doing the binders since the very beginning, or no?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Started binders and sauna same time in January. So about 4.5, 5 months, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. From January to now, it'll be about 4 months. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that you can do. You can try various different detoxes. You can try different binder combinations. Some of the detoxes I would hesitate to tell you to do initially because you said you had ill feelings from a provoked heavy metals challenge test. So generally, I mean, rule of thumb is to use the sauna plus binders for about 6 months if you're a person that's sensitive to like provoke testing. It's hard for me to say because I'm not a doctor and I'm not there with you and I don't have all your history and all that kind of stuff. You can break the rules. If it were me, I would probably try a couple things. How intense are you doing the sauna sessions every other day? I mean, your schedule seems great. Every other day, paired with binders. I mean, what you're doing is fine. I know you don't like the Sunlighten solo dome EMF levels, but I think it's better for you to keep using it than not, based on what you've said. So, how long are your sessions and how hot are they?
By the way, thank you for saying basically better to use the sauna than not due to the EMF concern at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, I just got out of the sauna. I sort of rushed it so that I was hopefully had an opportunity to speak with you. Between 28 and 32 minutes is the length of time. In terms of temperature, unfortunately, I have not put a thermometer in there, but I have the settings on 7. So
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 9 or 1 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
it's not at the maximum. And I'll tell you, I sweat and I sweat profusely.
Okay.
And everything is soaked when I get out of there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think the binders that you're using is good. I mean, I have GI Detox. I've used it before myself. I think it's fine. I would rotate out a couple of other ones. I would try a couple of I've never personally noticed much from Pectosol C. Some people love it. There's some bentonite clay and obviously the Intros gel that I talk about in all my videos. You might rotate that in and out a few times. Short of that, you could get more aggressive. I mean, you could go out on a limb and try a little bit of niacin. Look up some of the niacin detoxes and play around with that a little bit. It might be too soon for you to do the complete protocol if you're still having adverse reactions, but that would be something to look into. I mean, there's so many things that we could do. Go down the list. How's your gut? How's your sleep? I don't know if your adrenal condition has improved. I'm not sure if your fatigue has worsened. Sometimes people can't tolerate that much sauna and they're kind of overdoing it, and less is more really gives you better results. So kind of, there's a lot of, I'm not sure where to begin with that, if that makes sense.
Actually, it does, because and these are all areas that I've touched on in my personal experience so far, in terms of gut health and that sort of thing. Well, if I have heavy metals, then I'm going to have some leaky gut issues. And in fact, if I have some sort of autoimmune condition like Hashimoto's, again, that's almost a guarantee that I have had or I have gut issues. Mm-hmm. In any event, I have started on, I rotate 2 different probiotics. Mm-hmm. And so I'm working to improve. And I recognize that that's not the only issue with gut. I mean, having a diverse microbiome is extremely important. There's no disagreement there. I think, though, permeability of gut is a separate issue, and that's something that I try to take care of in terms of my diet, which has changed, I would say, radically. I wouldn't say that currently I'm on a ketogenic diet, but the carbohydrate that I do have is complex, and it would be a prebiotic containing, whether it's the best quality rice I can have, or sweet potatoes or something like that. It's essentially, it's an organic diet. It's a meat and vegetables diet.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's kind of gut health and probiotic, prebiotic, and that aspect of it. And then there was one other thing that you brought up. Oh, in terms of sleeping and that sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had another saliva test. And I was considering, because I can do a saliva test, but I can also get some blood work done, and get some other blood markers measured as well to see how I'm doing. I'll share with you, though, that if I am off of I take an adrenal tissue supplement,
Yep.
and that's what helps me sleep through the night. Without that, I'll still wake up at night. So I currently am taking quite a few supplements, but
Coffee?
the adrenal tissue supplement. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Coffee?
Sorry, maybe our connection got a little weird. Could you repeat that, please?
Are you drinking coffee or caffeine?
I stopped.
Okay.
I stopped drinking coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
I did stop that, and let's see. And so adrenals, I probably should, but I was concerned about the sauna at a certain point, and that's why my sauna regimen isn't a daily one, because I don't want to wipe myself out at this kind of early stage. But I recognize that there are a lot of other people that are going to have questions for you, and I hope none of the things that you and I spoke of were redundant for you, so it was somewhat interesting for you as well. But it's greatly appreciated by me.
No, you're fine. I mean, you're totally right. It would take probably an hour for us to go through every little thing. But I think you're on the right track. I would continue to use, just the highlights from everything that you've said. I would continue to use the sauna that you have. I understand if you want to get something that's lower EMF or upgrade it later, but I would continue to do that. And I would not use it every day, even if you get a different one that you're pleased with the readings. It's too much. You know what I mean? Every other day is a great protocol for you. And I would even skip, you could even skip one day a week also, if that makes sense. And then some of those other binders that I suggested, I would rotate in and out of those. I would continue what you're doing until you get to the 6-month marker. And then I would maybe look into playing around with some niacin and look into a soft niacin detox, not the complete protocol, and see how your body responds to that. And then I'm sure there's other nuanced things that I could make suggestions for. I don't want to lead you down a path that would screw you up, kind of like the provoked testing that you had, because there's some mobilizers that you can take also that might give you some good results, but they also might not. So I would stay with gentle, slow, and steady, and just stay the course.
All right. Last question. If I understood correctly, you may have had an adrenal issue in your past.
100%.
If that's true, okay. Maybe after I hang up and I'll listen later, would you be willing to share a little bit more about your adrenal experience and recovery, especially recovery? And maybe it might be beneficial for not only me, but for some others too.
Sure. I mean, I can just do it now because I'm not sure exactly which stage you were talking about. And there's some questions and stuff in the live chat that are pertinent. Questions about replacing electrolytes and things like that. I didn't mention any of that stuff to you because you said you were seeing a practitioner. So I'm confident that you have all the basics covered, potassium, magnesium, all the electrolytes. You're doing mineral supplementation, especially if you're doing that much sweating. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have all that handled, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I mean, I figured because usually most practitioners worth their salt wouldn't wouldn't let you get out the door with that much sauna use and not even touch on it. So what do you mean when you say, can I explain a little bit about my adrenal journey?
So I have heard of people say that adrenal fatigue isn't even a real thing.
It is.
However, I also know that Cushing's disease is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a believer that it's a real thing. And I also I'm living in this body. I have this experience, which is, I might be a little bit of a type A person.
Mm-hmm.
And my sleep has gradually been worsening since several life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that is starting a new family. Some of that was work related and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I noticed a decline, but also the fact that my experience and the adrenal issues that I have are possibly or likely caused by the thyroid problem that I have. So they're kind of secondary to the thyroid problem.
Mm-hmm.
And my thyroid was running down and my adrenal HPA axis was all screwed up. And in turn, that also heavily influenced my adrenals. And so here I am a few years later, seeing if I can recover. So that's the only experience that I have to speak from. And I haven't really talked to anybody else in depth about their personal experience with adrenal fatigue, adrenal crash, whatever it may be. And so I was curious to learn about what you experienced, what may have caused yours, and what you did to improve things specifically. It might even not even be sauna, maybe it is, or heavy metals, and how long it took, those sorts of things.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you some of my experience. As you probably know, in the worst of it, basically feel like you're not sure if you're going to die. You can't get off the couch. You wake up in the morning and you feel like you've got hit by a truck. You go to the doctor and everything checks out. They tell you nothing's wrong with you, yet you can't, put two sentences together. You get brain fog. You're not functioning. You have no motivation. You have, just kind of like unbearable fatigue, and just nothing that you do shakes it. That, in the thick of it, that was my experience as far as the symptoms and how it was wrecking my life. I don't exactly know what caused all of that. There's usually a couple of things. Sometimes it's emotional or psychological stressors. Other times it's physiological. I think a lot of times it's a blend. So from my own experience, like in 2016, I started a new business. There was a lot of uncertainty. I was living on savings. There was a lot of external stress. And I'm kind of a methodical person. My brain doesn't shut off. I'm always thinking about something. I'm always creating things. And if you put two and two together, that creates an internal amount of stress that needs to be monitored, and you got to smooth the edges off somehow. So I went through a period where I wasn't drinking very much and I wasn't doing any type of meditation. I wasn't doing anything really to create like some downtime. You follow?
Yes, absolutely.
So basically, life is on overdrive. My mind is on overdrive. And then I can't remember exactly the dates because it's getting too far away now. But sometime in 2017, I believe, midway through the year, I had been suffering from chronic sinus infections for years, and finally, I stumbled onto this thing that told me, talked to me about heavy metals, and I didn't know anything about it at the time in relation to how it irritates the sinus cavities and leaches into the gut and does all this stuff. Long story short, I had my amalgams removed, and then about 5 months later, I really started to crash and burn. So it kind of added a physical component to all these mental and emotional things that were going on, both in everyday life, and then also in the way my personality interacts with the world. Are you following?
Yep. Yeah.
So basically, from that, what I would urge folks or you or whoever to take away from that is it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone has like personality quirks. Some people are type A, some people aren't. Some people, nothing bothers them. But generally, the people that are kind of a little bit analytical, some people are OCD, some people are, um, just like very methodical. Generally, it leads to overthinking, and then you operate in ways unconsciously in your life that sometimes you're not aware of. And so, when a stressful event comes, or when massive life change comes, coupled with some type of physical stress, like having amalgams removed improperly, you can kind of create a scenario that really causes crash and burn with the adrenals. And that's kind of my opinion or synopsis of my own life experience of how that all came together. But I couldn't tell you, and I don't think anybody, none of the doctors or anybody that I saw could say with certainty that any one thing is the cause of kind of like the crippling effects of all that.
That's fantastic. I could relate to so much of what you were saying. And in terms of the things that you did, I've heard you mention functional medicine docs before for yourself, as well as sauna use and that sort of thing. And then you just mentioned meditation, which that's something that I began. And about how long after you did, or you took many of those steps, did you start to see improvement? And also, how are you doing now? If you're willing to share, I recognize it's kind of.
No. I'm happy to talk about it. So I'm not sure what to tell you about the timeline. There wasn't somebody like this making videos like these when I was going through this. And so when I was in the thick of it, I did a lot of things wrong in the beginning. And so for I would say probably a year, I didn't really get anywhere. I mean, I was doing everything that I possibly could. If you go to a regular GP or a regular doctor and they just run blood work and you talk to them about some dental work that you had and a concern that you had maybe had heavy metal poisoning and all this, they look at you like you're nuts and that you should just have an antidepressant or an anxiety blend that they prescribe and then send you on your way and you should just get your shit together. But there, if you're dealing with anything like that, that it's not, it's a very real thing. I think a lot of times adrenal fatigue goes into subclinical levels, and Western medicine is not taught to deal with how to test for those. I mean, they're certainly not going to give you a waking saliva test and see where your cortisol is at and see like how your hormones are functioning and blah, blah, blah. We're getting off track, but all this stuff is really pertinent when you look at the 30,000 foot overview of one of these situations. The problem with, the reason that I don't make videos about my own experience is because everyone is different, right? Like not everyone has the same psychological or physiological stressors. So I kind of think about it in modalities. What I would basically, to answer your question before I get into the modalities, is I probably spun my wheels for a year. I started to make a little bit of progress the next 6 months. And then the following 6 months, I slid backwards a little. And then the next year, probably 2 years later, or 2 years total, then I was in pretty good shape. And today I do very well as long as I don't slip back into bad habits. For me personally, one of the things that really affects me is living on coffee and intermittent fasting. I'm a person that loves to intermittent fast. I wake up in the morning and I just drink coffee and I work, and I perform very, very well like that for several months, and then I crash and burn. And that has to do with that whole cycle. And not everyone, not everyone's body maintains blood sugar, and this is a really hard thing for me to answer because one of the things that you have to look at is a person's lifestyle. So my lifestyle, doing the majority of my job, is sitting at a desk. If you're active, if you're a roofer, it changes the whole dynamic because you get up in the morning and you're active, and the way that you're fasting, glucose and everything response completely changes. And so I try not to make videos about the things that you're asking about because I think people see them and they're like, oh, that's me. And then they do exactly what that person says, yet they're not taking into account their environment, their habits and rituals, and then their own personal, stressors. You follow?
I get it, and I agree. That's why I was like, well, should I ask this question or not? But absolutely, and I've learned that more now than ever, that we are all unique. We're unique from our parents, but also the life experiences that we've had in the past, plus what we're experiencing on a day basis, including waking up in the morning and getting some sunshine versus having a computer job like what I have. I can relate and respect what you say there.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a few things I left out. I mean, there was many months of going through pure hell. There was many months of using sauna and not getting, overnight results, because anytime you're in that situation, as you probably well know, you're looking for something to remedy this like now, because you, you want to get back to living your life and you can't. And, if it's something that people don't understand, if they've never been through it, doesn't make any sense. They kind of just grab you by the arm and be like, "Hey man, let's roll. You gotta get it together." But your body just physically will not perform under those circumstances. So the things that I left out were the lull periods, doing some detox protocols that didn't work initially or set me back because I was too aggressive. That's why I'm always telling people to be gentle. If you're in adrenal failure, the last thing you want to do is sauna every day. But let's get to things that would probably, I'm not sure how to say this. Let's get to like the overarching modalities that are consistent with everyone. Doesn't matter who you are, what your lifestyle is like, and they're your inside stressors, your outside stressors, and then how you live your life. So a few of those we touched on already. You've got to be able to take control of your mind, give it some downtime. So whether that's meditation, whether that's playing soccer, whether that's some woodworking hobby that you enjoy, even if you feel like shit, you have to get back to that. You have to, because a lot of times people develop, I went through this, it's very easy to develop a health anxiety because you're having these problems, nothing is working, and then you're spending your waking hours trying to help yourself because no one else is helping you. And then this leads to like this chronic, what was an external stress now becomes internal. Follow? Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. It did go out for a second. I'm still here. Please continue.
Okay. So, those are the universal things that are like, consistent with all of us. You've got to create some space or have a habit, ritual, hobby, something to give your mind, your body a break from even thinking about the stuff that we're talking about. And I think that is really, really, really important.
I wrote it down. I will be working on that in my own way, and I'll look for ways to apply that to my own experience. Matt, again, thanks a lot for everything that you've done and continue to do. I really appreciate it. I can tell you, it's already made a difference for me. So I really appreciate all your time, and thanks again.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Good talking to you.
Thanks. Likewise.
Hi. These are getting intense. Takes me back to a different time of life. Let's see what's going on in the live chat. Whoever else, I missed somebody's call. I know that was a really long one, but I figured that would be something similar to what other people would ask. If I missed you, just call back. There's not a hold room here, so I don't have any way to return your call. I'm sorry. Let's see what's going on in the live chat, guys. Man, that kind of was a step back in time for me. I had to think about some of that. I haven't thought about it in a while. Electrolytes. Hi, CC. How are you? Frank, what's going on? I can't tell if some of the comments in the live chat, I think that was while we were speaking. I don't think it's ongoing questions. Mr. Tully, how are you? Glad you're touching on adrenal fatigue. Your test said my adrenals and thyroxine extremely taxed, working with 1% of normal energy. That's weird. So you're kind of crashing a little bit, Mr. Tully, compared to where you were. Need to back up a little. CC, financial stress. Absolutely. That can be a big one. It basically comes down to, security. Do you feel secure in your life? And if you don't, you're activating more cortisol than normal. So it's kind of like it's a physiological response to an external environmental change. But the way that affects the adrenals, if you have health problems or heavy metals, is it's a compounding deal. And I also diagnosed with mold and Lyme, initial experience. They gaslight us. They gaslight us at a time when we really need help. I like that. Thanks, Royce. Trisalts. I like trisalts. I've used those a lot. Riquilde. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'll just say Casado. Truth Fighter says, good call, Matt. So true. These must have been comments. Can I talk about my diet? Ilya. Sure. I'm not a model dieter. So, in the times of my life that I've done really well for a while, I generally eat like a, not a carnivore diet, but basically like a whole food diet, meat and vegetables, not keto. I definitely need carbs. But when I generally, I my body naturally likes to intermittent fast. I don't like breakfast necessarily. Yeah, I try to avoid eating gluten for a while. Let's switch this. Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing good. My name is Don, and I am new to the sauna. Thought of purchasing one. I've been looking at that and the blue light and that kind of thing. I'm 54. Probably, well, considered extremely obese. Probably 40 to 50% body fat. My wife is got fibromyalgia, and we're looking at getting into a sauna, buying a sauna, because her doctor recommended something like that. And I come across a couple of your videos and saw you live today, so I thought I'd give you a call.
All right. How can I help you?
I hear a lot of these detox protocols, these binders and things, and I'm just, how does that work? And I just thought it was, you buy a sauna, you get in there and you sweat, and it helps you lose weight, and you go on with the day. I don't know anything about any of this other stuff.
Well, I mean, if you're in pretty good health, you probably don't need to be too concerned with it. A lot of people like myself, I mean, I didn't really find saunas because I thought it would be like a cool thing to do. I had a serious health issues, and it was one of the things that helped me a lot. I mean, are you trying to, is there some particular goal that you have with the sauna that would lead you to think that you need a detox protocol? Because the sauna, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I am kind of like what you guys were talking about earlier, the previous caller. I go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 5, and that's just not my normal time to get up, and it takes forever for me to get going. And and I struggle, especially being as overweight as I am. And so I'm just trying to come up with things that'll, number one, help me feel better, and number two, it's like, is this going to work? And I've come into a little bit of extra money, and I'm like, I'd like to get one of those, the corner things, so both my wife and I, we can sit in there and talk and that kind of thing. And I thought this was going to be, I thought people did saunas on a daily basis, or like 2 or 3 times a day, and but the way I hear you guys talking, it's like, only like 3 or 4 times a week. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a new bit of information that I haven't heard before. So I'm learning.
Well, Don, that's why I do these live calls, is to answer people's questions individually, that is in a way that's extremely individualized and pertinent to them. I try not to make videos about certain stuff like that because I don't want people to see it kind of like this and get the wrong idea. A normal healthy person that has no issues with any type of fatigue or anything like that can sauna every day, no problem. What we were talking about earlier is a particular condition that I've been through myself, where the body does not rebound correctly. Like, you don't just go to sleep and wake up refreshed. And if you do certain things that are similar to overtraining, which is like sauning every day, if you already have some type of health condition, it makes it worse instead of making it better. Now, there's tons of people on the planet that have the opposite experience. They sauna every day and they feel great. You know what I mean? So it's
right. Okay.
That's not really blanketed advice. That was really just very specific to the previous caller. A lot of videos, I'll say, take it easy and only do every other day, because people are like me. They get a sauna and they're like, oh, this thing can do great things for me. Let's use it 5 times a day. Right? And before you know it, when you're in it, you feel great. But it's kind of like, if you never trained for a marathon and then you ran a marathon, you might make it through it. But the next 5 days when your body's healing up, you're going to feel terrible, right? It's very similar to that.
Right.
But you said a couple of things that maybe I'm not aware of. The times that I've been, overweight and doing other stuff, one of the things that helped me a lot was simply just walking. I'm not sure if you're on a walking protocol, but that can make a huge difference in combination with sauna.
Right.
I don't know where you live either. It might not be realistic if you live in a snow climate.
I'm in Kansas. It's
Okay.
raining right now, but question on timing. What's the good time of the day to sauna? Because I was thinking, it's like, okay, well, I get up in the morning, go jump in the sauna, go hit a cold shower, and go off to work.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a realistic protocol, or should it be done in the afternoon after you work? You're trying to help the body recover for the day.
Mm-hmm.
What? Because I work in manufacturing.
Okay.
I build our wonderful 737 MAX airplanes. I do sheet metal, and
Nice.
so I have a lot of vibrating tools and things that put a lot of stress on my joints and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I'm coming from, as far as I need something to help me continue my job so my body doesn't break down.
I see. Okay. That helps me a little bit more understand kind of where you're at. I think you might really like an infrared sauna. There's tons of people that, even with arthritis and other issues of the joints, say they get great relief from that. I personally don't have many joint issues, but a lot of folks really do. The real answer to your question is you have to test it for your own body type. There's generally two camps of people. Like if you took 1,000 people and 500 of them sauna'd in the morning, 500 at night, the feedback that you're going to get is going to be 50-50. I'm a person that likes to sauna in the evening, probably about 2 to 3 hours before I go to bed. It really improves my sleep. It relaxes me for the evening. And my sleep schedule does better when I sauna at night. For other people, they love to sauna in the morning. It's how they get their day started. And some of the feedback that I've gotten over the years from folks is that if you sauna before you have breakfast, some people say that fasting sauna, if that's even a thing, really helps them, and they think they get a better sweat.
Yeah, kind of like the fasting workout. I've heard, if you work out in the morning, in the fasted state,
mm-hmm.
it enables your body to release triglycerides or whatever.
Exactly.
You're able to metabolize your fat cells easier.
Yeah.
In a fasted state.
Yep. And then the opposite is true also. You could get feedback from the other 500 people out of 1,000 that say, if they sauna in the morning, they're tired throughout the day and they feel terrible. And then the other camp is also true. If folks sauna within like a half an hour of going to bed, some people say that they're wired, their temperature doesn't come back down, and they're just kind of lay there restlessly. So I think the real answer is that you have to test it for your body type, but it's an easy thing. I mean, one day you could try it in the evening on a weekend. Another day you try it in the morning and see how you do.
Right. I don't know if you remember, I touched on it when I first got on the phone with you. I'm also wanting to buy, because I know you got the near infrared and you got the far infrared light spectrum. Mm-hmm. And I know that the near infrared is a very short distance. You have to be like really close to it. So I understand why the full spectrum is kind of a myth as far as the saunas go. But my question is, what I would like to do, the things that I was thinking about is buying a Juve light and setting it up like a tanning bed situation.
Mm-hmm.
Set under that for like 10 minutes and then get in, go do a sauna along with that. Do you think there's any kind of pros or cons as far as doing something like that, or what do you think on that?
Yeah, it's a huge pro. I do it myself. I'm not sure if you can see it off camera, but there's a body panel right here behind me. And it's separate from the sauna. You do that for about 10 minutes. And it doesn't have to be in conjunction with the sauna. In fact, I like red light therapy in the morning if I'm going to sauna, even if I'm going to sauna in the evening. I find that red light therapy can be a little bit energizing for me, so I try not to do it late at night. But your question, 100%, I think you're on track there. I would do that. Do a little red light therapy and then combine with sauna. Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay. Now that I know that you do the red light therapy, what about eye protection? I haven't talked to anybody about this yet, but knowing that you use it, do you use eye protection with it? I have one of the little minis that's on a little foot pedal, and so when I go into my bedroom at night before I go to bed, I turn it on instead of turning the bright light on, and so it's doesn't keep me awake as much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sit in front of it. I just have it on as a red light.
Right. Well, of course.
But anyway, when I have done the Juve light therapy, like when I'll put it a few inches from my chest so I can get my throat, my thyroid, my upper chest, and that kind of thing. But it's like super bright.
Mm-hmm.
I can handle it, but it's one of those things. Should I be doing it without glasses, or should I have eye protection on? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm required by law to tell you should always wear eye protection when looking at a high output light, right? I'm kidding. To answer your question, be completely transparent. I don't use eye protection ever, but I also don't set the lights up to where they're shining on my face. You got to use a little bit of common sense, no matter who gives you the advice. I would not recommend putting a high output body panel. Some people are using these for face treatments for skin improvements, which I think is awesome. If you're going to do something like that, you should 100% be wearing eye protection. If you're doing like a full body treatment and your head is above the top of the body panel and you're not staring at the bulbs, I really don't think
outside
it's that.
Of it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of it is common sense.
Common sense.
Yeah. If you had a child doing it or, a spouse or something, and you didn't think they were going to be careful about not staring into the lights and stuff like that. Yeah. I would throw some eye protection in there, but if you're a reasonable,
and again, it probably depends on I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it probably depends on the individual too, because my wife comes into the bedroom when I have it on, and she turns around because it's too bright for her.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
anyway.
Depends on how you're using it. If it's a body treatment and it's not pointed directly at your eyes, I don't see what the big deal is. I personally use them without eye protection.
Right.
If you're gonna do some type of distance treatment or skin treatment, and it's going to shine in your eyes, I would definitely wear them long term. I mean, if you just did it for today, it's not a big deal. But 10 years from now, I would absolutely be doing it.
I just watched your video today about the what was that? The best EMF sauna out there. I can't remember the brand name. You said that Amazon and Walmart, they sell their fake, but this one comes from Canada. You said that you hadn't had a chance to try the corner one yet. Is that the same? Is that the same company? I'm hoping. Because I was looking at Clearlight. Sauna, what was the name? I just watched it 10 minutes ago.
Depends on what year it was from, bud.
Anyway,
some of the videos can be from 2019.
No, this is 21. This is 2021.
Oh.
So anyway,
there's a corner sauna behind me. I mean, I definitely have one. That's what you're talking about.
I was just wondering if there's any difference between the two. Oh, golly, it's such a privilege to be able to talk with you. It's like, okay, what else can I ask? But anyway, I do appreciate your time, sir.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah, if there's anything else, just use the contact form on the website or something. If you think of a question later, I can always send you an email.
Okay. All right, will do. Thank you, Matt. I do appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for calling in. Good talking to you.
Bye.
Let's see. Somebody was trying to call in there. Guys, there's no holding room. So if I'm on a call with somebody else, I can't click over and I can't throw you into a hold room. Somebody called area code 440 from Ohio. I can't call you back, but if you still have a question, you want me to take it, go ahead and hit the 800 number. Don brought up a couple of good points there, especially we get on these lives. And this happens to me a lot. There's a lot of things going on. I'm constantly looking at the soundboard to make sure the audio input is right for all the devices. Sometimes people call in and I can hardly hear them. And I'm hoping that this is the same for me as it is for you guys. So I'm adjusting. I'm looking at the live chat. I'm checking the phone and then I'm also looking at the camera. A lot of times I feel like I have split focus, and after the fact I think of something that would be useful for somebody or something that I could have said or whatever. So hopefully thanks for Truth Provider. I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope it's good. It better be good. Truth Provider, put a little 80 millimeter computer fan. Yes, that was a good idea. I used to cut a hole in the roof of the saunas and put the computer fans in there. I don't know why I never thought of just putting it in the vent hole, that you don't have to cut anything. That as soon as I saw that, I was like, this guy's borderline genius. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Angela says, do you get a suntan from Brooder heat lamps? Added a couple of those to my far infrared health mate. I'm not sure, Angela. I don't have one. I don't think I've ever used one of those. I don't know. I can't comment. Maybe somebody else in the live chat can. Joel C says, my sauna is a clear light, has options for 100%, 50%. Have the full spectrum turned off is the best option. I use this sauna at 50 degrees Celsius. Well, I don't know what you mean when you say the best option. The full spectrum heaters, I mean, if you need more heat in the sauna, obviously I would run them at 100%. In my experience, my Clearlight Sanctuary that's over there, I'm kind of at a war with the Clearlight Sanctuary right now. The idea of the full spectrum heaters, the way that they portray them and then what they actually do is two different things. But I still have to have one here for testing just to make sure that there's no, oversights. I find that the full spectrum heaters on 100% make my knees feel like they're on fire, and then my back feels cold. And I'm not sure if that's a power delivery issue with the sauna or if it's a heat absorption issue. So unless you need the extra heat, I would say run them at 50%. You really want to focus most of the heat on your sides and your spine. I know they say that they're full spectrum, but I mean, you're not getting a ton of any type of near infrared or mid infrared at that distance anyway. So, but they are adding a lot of heat to the sauna. So I would just tailor it to however you like your sessions or whatever your preference is. And full disclosure, this is one of the reasons why I have an issue with promoting or recommending full spectrum saunas, because I think the way that they're portrayed and then how they actually operate when you use them, I mean, really all you need is far infrared, but that has nothing to do with your question. Truth Writer says, I don't think the full spectrum really is a great help. I find the regular far infrared is great. I'll detox, loosen my muscles, joints for pain alleviation. I agree. Let's see. Anyone else have any questions? We're going on about an hour here. I can stick around for a little while longer if somebody else has something. We've got 562 from Long Beach. I hope everyone will find out. I hope this is a live call. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey.
This is MRY Tully. Hi, Matt.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good. I was going to type stuff out. I just thought I'd call in.
Sure.
I saw that you were talking about the Adrenal earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And, I talked to you about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the hair mineral analysis.
Yes.
It started with Dr. Paul Eck, and then Dr. L. Wilson kept it going. I don't know the whole history, but basically they cut your hair, they look at some minerals, and then these ratios.
Mm-hmm.
And two of the ratios deal with one the adrenal and one thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is the only person that's been able to help me so far. Like I did a program. So this is a woman that worked with Dr. Wilson.
Okay.
And
got it.
I had these migraines forever, and they just dropped after about a week.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, yeah, my adrenal and my thyroid just in the tank based on these numbers. It's not testing the thyroid hormone. It's testing, I think it's sodium and potassium. Those levels are the ones for those. I was just wondering your experience with hair mineral analysis and adrenal. I've actually given a little bit of a break from using the sauna because it could tax me. Now their program does use the sauna very heavily, but she said it's not a bad idea to take a little break. And anyways, I was wondering your experience with, because I know you know the hair mineral analysis test, so I was wondering if you could speak to the adrenal. I don't know exactly what it's called, but in there they call it adrenal burnout.
Yeah. Well, it's similar. I mean, usually it's in stages. Just depends on where you're at and which stage. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the HMT testing. I've had it done quite a lot. So let me think. I'm trying to remember exactly when you first. So how are you doing right now? Because you were doing better, and then you weren't, and then you were doing better, and now you're saying you're not, or you're just saying based on the test, you're worried about something. Like, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel okay. I mean, I'm still a little dizzy spells, but my headaches, like chronic migraines, are not there.
Right.
I'm 95% better on the chronic migraines, which I was going to have to go on prescription. They wanted to put me on. It was like Alzheimer's medication. I mean, not kidding you. It was crazy. Anyways, I managed to knock that out, so I don't have to do that. And then I feel okay. I mean, I feel like I might be steadily getting better. It's a simple program. It does involve diet. It does involve coffee enemas, and it does involve saunas at some point. And but in the beginning, she just wants me to get these levels a little bit better.
Okay.
I can tell you these crazy numbers, but basically, yeah, my energy is close to negative or zero or close to negative, meaning negative is when you start doing real damage to your body.
You mean the way that you feel?
Any reduction in energy is really bad, especially for detoxing. You know, if you have low energy levels.
So you're feeling like you have no energy, or the test is showing that you're low energy?
Well, I certainly feel better than I felt last October, November. I felt kind of what you were describing earlier, where you just get up in the morning and it feels like a train hit you. It feels like you were drinking all night, something along that line.
Yes.
And no, I feel a lot better than that. I'm sleeping like 10 to 11 hours a day. I'm getting stuff done, but I get dizzy spells. I have to really. I started realizing I thought I was yawning because I was struggling for oxygen. I think I'm yawning because my body's telling me I'm tired. And even though I could go all day personally, like my mental, I want to get up and go, but I'm just like I have to force myself to relax. It goes to that kind of type A personality you were talking about earlier. And but yeah, my numbers on this hair thing show me down. I mean, I could go through the ratio, but essentially, like for example, just for your viewers, so this is the thyroid ratio. It's your calcium over potassium. They want you at 4. Anything over 40 is 85% reduction in energy. I scored a 50. So, and then my adrenal is, they want you at 4.17. I scored a 0.67. Anything below, I think 1 is less than 85%. And you're supposed to times the 2. So I would have essentially like 0.15 energy times 0.15 energy, something around close to 0 energy essentially, which is how I felt. I feel a little bit better now. I was just wondering your experience with these hair tests. Did they really help you? You know, that sort of thing. Because the normal testing for adrenal function says I'm perfect, similar to what you were describing earlier in the call.
Right.
On this, yeah.
Yeah, my experience with them, I mean, I think they're great for certain things, and I think they're terrible for other things. For for checking mineral displacement or doing like the certain types of heavy metal analysis with an HMT test, I think is unreliable. But to see where you need to improve or what minerals are lacking, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Did you do a saliva test too to check for your cortisol and hormones, especially waking state, in addition to the hair test to validate the two together?
No, I know what you're talking about, but I did not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know.
I have to tell you, I'm not very fluent on using an HMT test to gauge adrenal performance. I'm not sure how you would be doing that. It's not in real time. It would be more like historical, because you're talking about a hair mineral analysis test, right? Just the hair.
Right. So you cut your hair every 2 to 3, even 4 months.
Right. And how many of those have you done?
I've only done one. So
Okay.
I just have my initial.
Yeah, that's harder for me to comment on. One of the things that you want to look for is a pattern. So you take your initial hair analysis, and then generally you're going to have some type of mineral imbalance, and you'll be taking supplements to correct those. And I mean, you have to be careful if it's one of the ones that you sweat out in abundance, if you're doing a lot of sauna like you were trying to do. Because you're trying to replenish, but you're also losing while you're trying to do something good for yourself. So you have to take that into account. You might need to up that supplementation in order to get into the range that they want. But without just going off of an initial hair mineral analysis, and then, because really what you want to do is you want to make an adjustment, and then you want to go and test again and see how your body responded. And without doing that, you don't have a whole lot to go on. I mean, it's just one test from one day, right? From one historical element. And I keep using the word historical because hair mineral analysis is not in real time, because it takes time for your hair to grow, and that's what you're cutting, and then that's what you're testing. So there's a timeline that's associated with that. You follow what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's usually, I think, about a 2-month period, and so mine technically would have been about February, March, and I was doing a lot of sauna, and my sodium and potassium are very low.
Right.
I don't know enough about sauna and how much it impacts your adrenal and thyroid. I do know you do lose sodium and potassium. I do take electrolytes every time. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I didn't take enough. But they were saying that it doesn't really work that way. So, like, if your sodium is low, it doesn't mean you did not have enough salt in your diet or water. It means that, for example, in your ratios, your thyroid or adrenal or some organ was essentially kicking out. So basically, by this number, they can tell how hard your adrenal and thyroid and other organs are working. But they said if you take a lot, if you eat a lot of salt, it's not going to replace that salt.
Right.
This is a function of organ effort, not how much. Because I was using a lot of salt.
Yeah, I mostly meant in relation to the other, like, mineral levels, or your specifically your relationship with magnesium and calcium. I mean, if you've only done one of these and they have you on a protocol and you're working with a practitioner, I would follow what the suggestion is for now, and then see how you retest. Do you have a scheduled date for that? And are you doing everything you're supposed to be doing in the meantime?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, you have to have multiple tests to compare, and I got a really good positive feedback. I mean, my headache stopped within 7 days. It was dramatic. It was insane. So I'm gonna keep following, and it all makes sense to me, and it's gonna be good. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to restart sauna use, but she said, at some point you'll start lightly, exactly what you were talking about last time, just saying start lightly again. But she says my body is not ready to detox. She's just like, your body's a mess. You're struggling to have energy just to wake up, and like your body's not going to detox very easily. And she was actually impressed with how much I was detoxing, because some of the metal things on here were a little bit high. She says it showed that I was detoxing very well, considering my energy was in the can. she thought I was doing something, which I was. I was doing sauna, and I was taking glutathione and a couple other things,
Yep. Yeah, that's the confusing thing is about those tests. If people people think because it says high mercury or high aluminum or high this that they have some type of toxic level, but it just means that there was a dumping phase in the recent history of the hair sample. Well, I mean, so I don't know how I can really help you at the time for the time being. It looks like you're doing your sauna protocol. That's put on pause, and you're gonna. I guess you're on mineral supplementation and something else.
Well, I'm just following what she's given me.
Mm-hmm.
She took me off the glutathione just right now, and it's a pretty simple thing I'm doing, but it's really strategic as opposed to just taking a general, essentially multivitamin.
Right.
And I just wanted to see what you thought, because I know you have experience with all this, and every time you talk about your symptoms, I'm like, yeah, I felt exactly what you were saying. So I just wanted to see what you thought, and for all the listeners, this protocol I'm doing here, you can find on either Wendy Myers talks about it, and the person that taught Wendy Myers was Nikki Moses, and then of course, or she actually healed Wendy Myers. She's big on YouTube, and then Nikki Moses was taught by Dr. L. Wilson. And so on, it goes back like a domino, but you can look into it. It's pretty interesting. It goes really well with sauna protocol, it seems, because they use the sauna a lot. And so anyways, but I wish, because I was talking about doing Dan's program, the detoxination, because I really want to do that. And she's like, yeah, she actually did that program. I don't think it was with Dan, but she did something like that years ago, and she loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But she said my body was not ready. It was
right.
like you're too exhausted. Your body's just like fighting for air.
Yep.
And it's not ready. So
most of those, the HMT protocols come from Dr. Wilson, and then they've kind of been modified a little bit as they filter down the chain, exactly like you described. But I mean, overall, if you're having great results with it, I would stick with it and do the recommendations if you have improvements for your migraines and stuff already. I mean, that's a great sign, right?
Yeah, no, I am. I just wanted to see what your experience was. Yeah, it's been great. So I'll keep you posted, and I'll be in the chat every it's like Tuesday at 5 Pacific. So I just wanted to touch base with you.
Sure. Yeah, I think what you're doing is great. My experience was different than yours. The practitioner that I was using wasn't a Wilson trained practitioner. They were following a different procedure, and they were using a hair mineral analysis to assess like heavy metal dumping phases. They didn't call them that, but basically to see where I was at. And I think that was a poor way to use those. I think yours is much better. But I think you're doing well.
Yeah.
And you have nothing. I mean, there's no reason not to give it a shot for a couple months. When is your retest date? It's 2 months, you said?
In a month, it's a retest. So it'll take me about 2 months to get the results, or somewhere in there, and I'll keep you up to date. But yeah, I agree with you though. And Nikki Moses, who's working with me, she would totally agree as well. I think this is not for seeing how much poison is in you.
Right.
It's not a good test for that.
They're sold.
More just testing.
They're sold that way a lot, though. People buy them for that reason, and it's kind of deceptive.
And that's why I avoided them for so long, because it was like there's so much debate about it. But I was just actually, believe it or not, I went into it thinking I just want to check my toxic waste, and then I learned there's a lot more to this. And it's a lot better than that. Yeah, if you get the certain practitioners.
Well, they're always really useful for rebalancing your minerals. So it's kind of hard to rebalance minerals if you can't see where they're at. So if nothing else, you're going to get a huge value from doing that for that reason, not for the toxicity reason like in the past.
Yeah. And supposedly, if you get these minerals balanced with the Wilson protocol, your energy will go up. and you'll detox on your own, even without the sauna. But they do use the sauna. It's very helpful, very powerful too. So,
yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they use a lot of they actually use your DIY. They like the near infrared bulb.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nikki had both. She had it just like you had it. She had a full infrared with the near infrared inside it, and just like how yours are set up. So she uses both. And
yep.
Yeah, they're very serious about that. They love their saunas. They also like the coffee enemas, which are not fun, but they do seem to help. So.
Definitely not fun. Yeah, they have a strong belief that the heat lamp bulbs or whatever penetrate deeper into the skin, and Dr. Wilson has always been a huge proponent of those. Huge. But I think they all work.
Yeah. Initially, when I saw Wendy Meyer's videos, this was like 3 years ago, when my toxicologist told me, get in the sauna, you're toxic. I went on there and Googled saunas, and it was so expensive. Then I found Wendy Myers was pushing the tent, the near infrared with the $3,000 tent, and I instantly was like, this person is no good. Like, they're just selling you this stuff, and I didn't trust them.
Yep.
But now it turns out, if you go on, like, for example, this person's website, Moses, they'll just tell you to go to Home Depot. Just exactly what your DIY is. So just like, you can buy it for $10 bulb,
right? No
problem. Just start sauning anyway. I wish I had learned that 3 years ago.
Well, but it's okay. You got it now.
Like an alcoholic thing. Sorry, man. What?
I said that's okay. You got it now. Hindsight is 20/20, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like an alcoholic thing. I wish I had admitted to myself I was an alcoholic 3 years ago. You got to hit bottom before you realize how injured you are,
Yeah.
So, anyways, well, it's good talking to you. I don't want to take up too much. The last call was very long and generous, and I hope this is any help to people dealing with adrenal stuff, because this might be a better way to go initially before you start getting involved in like actual hormone replacement and whatnot. This is very, if you're not too damaged, it might really work for some people. It's the Wilson protocol, Dr. L. Wilson, and then you'd have to find your practitioner. Anyway, I'll let you know how it goes, and I'll keep checking with you throughout the year.
Awesome. Well, good to hear from you. Yeah, I'd like to see your. Let's see. It's the middle of May. When was your first test, and when's your next one? I'll try to remember this next time I talk to you.
I think my first test was about 2 months ago.
Okay.
And a month that you're just sitting on your hands because you're waiting for it. Yeah. So I really started the protocol about 5 weeks ago.
Okay.
And my headache stopped 4 weeks ago. I'll keep calendar, but I'm going to test again, and I'll keep you updated. Yeah, I mean, this would be right up the alley of your discussions with people. So
awesome. Right. Well, thanks for the feedback. It was great talking to you, and good to hear from you. Checking in.
All right. Yeah, and sorry about my daughter last time. It was like she sensed I was on a YouTube live show, and she was like,
no worries.
She was doing some science experiment and wanted like a baking soda or something. I was like, get out of here.
No worries.
Leave me alone. She's like, rabid. She's like rabid about this baking soda. And I was like, I'm so sorry. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks for calling. Talk to you later.
All right.
For anybody that wants to look up some of those resources, he's talking about Dr. Wilson. All you have to do is Google nutritional balancing by Dr. Wilson. That should get you a ton of stuff to read. Let's see. I missed somebody. 626 area code again. Is that the second time? I can't remember. Just a reminder, guys, I don't have a hold room. So if you called and I wasn't able to take the call, just call back. And call. I like this, Truth Provider. Hair mineral analysis is like the weather forecast. That's pretty good. That's very good, actually. Hello? Hello, hello?
Hello?
Hi. I keep losing you there. Are you there?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Matt.
Yes.
Good, how are you? It's Frank.
Frank, good to talk to you. How you been?
Yeah, I called you a couple weeks ago.
I remember. How you been?
What's going on?
Nothing much, bud. Just trying to work this technology and getting not doing so well tonight. How are you?
Good, I got a couple questions. I like to cover information fast because I know we have limited time.
Okay.
So, and you're real detailed. I talked to the guy from Radiant Health, the owner, real nice guy, Randy.
Yep.
I was raving about you. I was telling him the reason why I bought. He could tell I was sincere. And I said, I've been doing it. He goes, oh, yeah, we like them, I told him. But just wanted to get that out. Couple quick things. You know how they say if you do steady state cardio, meaning you build up a sweat, not like walking, and I'm not saying marathon running. See, I do the elliptical, or I walk vigorously for 45 minutes to an hour, and you get a sweat, right? They say that they can do like neurogenesis, and that can help with your brain.
Right.
Do you think that's different? So I can still, because I have my Radiant Health Spa coming. I got that 2-person one.
Okay.
It's coming next week. Finally getting it. I ordered it January 14th. Do you think that will help me different for my brain as far as it's a different way of hitting it? Do you get what I'm saying?
It depends on how good of shape you're in. I mean, you can.
I'm not in bad shape. I'm like kind of like an out of shape UFC fighter. I'm 47 years old. I'm sick. I'm like, I used to be 6'1". I'm probably every bit of 6 foot. I'm like you, broad shoulders, big hands.
Okay.
My body fat's probably like 23, 24. Today I weigh 239.
Okay.
I have a basic grew on my stomach that like, if I probably got down to 200, I'd be real lean. But you're like, yeah, well, that's 40, or like 210. But I do what you do. I eat in a small, what's it called, an eating window. I eat 1 to 2 meals a day in a 3-hour window. I love it. And I don't do keto. I eat clean carbs. And I eat good most of the time. And then I kind of act up. I eat pretty organic. But a couple of the things is, I don't know if you know anything about this to blow your mind. If you don't, we can move on. I've been off of, never got into, like, obviously, street drugs. I haven't smoked pot since I was 26, or recreational drugs at all. I took an antidepressant for 14 years. You might know nothing about this. And I've been off of it for 3 years and 5 months. And they don't tell you when you take one for 10 years, it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Do we cover that?
Good for you, man. We haven't covered that. I am not allowed to talk about some of it, but you can.
Okay. Well, I took a drug called Sauna. If you don't want to talk, we won't. And I know that can change your brain. So I've been hitting it with healthy fats and mindfulness. It's been a rough road. I just thought I got over everything like a couple months ago. Now I'm having kind of anxiety and depression flare up.
Yep.
The only thing is I kind of toned back where my workouts, right? I have to kind of walk through it and go to work. I don't know if my brain is hitting a glitch. So I can't wait for this sauna to come. Do you think it can help me? Not that it's going to be one thing. It's going to be 100 things tacking it at different angles, right? So I was wondering your opinion. Would a sauna help me with my brain like Dr. Patrick, what's that girl's name, Rhonda Patrick says it can do that? What's your opinion? You never really go into that.
Because I'm not allowed to.
Not saying you can.
Yeah.
Okay. They got you, Joe Rogan, or who is it, like YouTube, or is it other forces?
No.
When you say they got you, we don't have to cover.
No, it's just, we're not allowed to say that a particular product is going to assist or eliminate or remove or remedy that specific situation, especially with the names of the compounds that you were talking about. The thing that you have to think about is that no. I got some stuff for you. I got something that I think might actually really be useful for you. The first part of your question, I don't know how to answer. Is using a sauna the same for brain performance or the same outcome as, steady state cardio? I don't know. I mean, a part of me wants to say yes, because people can get into zone 2 if you monitor your heart rate. I mean, you're in zone 2 sitting still in a sauna. So it's similar, but you don't have the movement aspect. And if you look at the science, like when you walk and you move your hands side to side, it's balancing the brain hemispheres, the left and the right. You're not getting some of that, when you're sitting still, but you're getting other things with zero exertion. So on one hand, I would say yes, and on another hand, I would say no. What do you think?
So no, I agree. So if I did both, it's not going to hurt me if I don't have any kids. I've been divorced for 10 years. Financially, I'm not trying to brag. I'm in good shape. I'm not a millionaire, but meaning I don't worry about bills. My house is paid off.
Yeah.
But in the same things, I don't have boatloads of money. I just want to be happy. And I think I'm getting health anxiety because I was on that SSRI. My point to you is whether my brain's going through a glitch. This girl talks about how that I know you know her, that Rhonda Patrick girl. She's on Joe Rogan.
Sure.
She's like a nerd. She's like my age, and she's like runs the brain department at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So she didn't go to like Northwestern chiropractor, but she's in integrative medicine like you. She talks about how it does so much for our brain, like neurogenesis. And you know what BDNF is?
Yes.
Okay, so I know you can't, maybe you won't touch that. So I'm not saying she's like that, but her and Joe Rogan use these things religiously. Did you know that or no?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons that I sauna at night. I mean, my clarity of mind and sleep depth is much better the following day. I mean, huge. I can't sit here and say that it's going to detox using an SSRI from, whatever, however many years. I've got another idea for you on that. We just can't make claims like that about a particular health improvement product, if you know what I'm saying. But
and Matt, guess what? I don't take anything as gospel. Not to keep interrupting you, but guess what? I've tried so many things that I don't expect nothing. So when something does come up, does that make sense? I get real happy. Like one thing I'll tell you, whether you believe me or not, I take cold showers. I've been doing it for 3 years. I never expected it to work. Remember, I'm thinking it right. And it hits the top of your brain, the cool spot. You know how you kind of talk about that washing off?
Yeah.
Not that it's going to drive you weeks, whether it lasts 3 hours, 2 hours. It lifts my mood up. I would never expect it to work. The only problem is now it's getting kind of warm here. Today in Ohio, I'm outside of Cleveland. It's like 80.
Right.
So say the temperature of the water is coming out at like 52 in the winter. I love taking cold showers. It comes out at like 39 degrees.
Oh my God.
Do you get what I'm saying? So,
I get what you're saying.
But I like it. Like I did it 3 years ago and say I did it for 30 seconds. And at the end of the week, I'm like you. I don't do things like where it's like going to the first time like 20 years ago. At the end of the week, I was at like 50 seconds. And then week 2, I was at 2 minutes. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get it.
So it means nothing to me now. But I don't know if you do cold shower therapy or
Yes,
you're not a fan of that.
Oh, I'm a huge fan.
What's your take? I get great results, I think.
I like it. I agree. Similar.
I'm not saying one thing's going to cure me, but like I said, if I have to hit it from 100 angles, and a couple other questions, because I cover a lot of information. I appreciate you because you're due diligence. I've taken this thing called Ashwagandha.
I take it every
whether
night.
These things work. I don't know if they're not working or I'm like methylated. I don't think they're working. What's your opinion on that?
Well, we're jumping around a little bit. To close out the sauna thing, based on everything that you've said, I think you will be very, very impressed with what the sauna can do for you. I'll put it that way. Yeah, I think you'll be very pleased at the results that you get with it. As far as ashwagandha, I take it as a stress reliever at night before I go to bed. A lot of people take it in the daytime, looking for mood improvement. When you say it doesn't work or it's not doing what you want, what's your goal with it?
I wanted it to mend my adrenals, not to fix them. I wanted to lift up my mood, and they say it helps with anxiety. I took it a long time ago. I got a different one, not MK6766. I got another one, but I take 2 right now. I just took them, and I took 1. You know how they say take 3?
Yeah.
It's like a little under 1.9 grams.
Yep.
And I got this organic one off Amazon. This is my 4th day of taking it. Does it have to work in your system again, or should it work immediately?
A little bit. I mean, I find that it's extremely subtle, and I notice more of a difference over time. Like if you take it every day for 2 weeks, it seems like it really takes the edge off. The other thing that you could try is there's a liquid. Some folks say that if you just pound the liquid in the evening, that'll take the edge off, and it works instantly because it gets absorbed right away. It's not a capsule. I've had both. That hasn't been my experience. If you're having anxiety, though, I mean, there's other stuff that you could do for that. How's your caffeine intake?
Matt, I used to live in Vegas. I've been back in Ohio for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I drank coffee. I used to bounce off the walls for like 10 years, but I only drank 1 cup a day when I used to work in a spa. I haven't drank coffee in 6 years.
Gotcha.
I already kind of high wired.
Yeah.
Nothing, no caffeine. I'm just wired like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could try
I don't smoke.
Okay. You could try a little L-theanine, ashwagandha. You could also try some ashwagandha and holy basil at night, both of those together. But
I just ordered some sweet. I just ordered that. It comes tomorrow. The holy basil, I'll do them together. Okay.
Works pretty good. You could have a little bit of weird brain chemistry going on because you're still coming off the SSRI. One of the things that I would...
Thank you. That's what my goal was.
Yeah.
That's my goal, that I still have like another 6 months. It's only been because this guy, I told you this like when we talked 2 weeks ago, and I know you're real thorough. This guy told me he took the same things. I mentioned one that I forgot. I took Paxil, 60 milligrams. Not that this is a health show to anyone listening. And I took Xanax. Thank God I didn't take 4 Xanax a day for 12 years. And when I went to go get help, not like help where I had psychosis, I had over 1,100 Xanax things, meaning I didn't take them every day because you'd build a tolerance over 12 years, you see? So I kind of always knew that. But that damage of taking a half or 0.5 milligram to a milligram for 12 years, I just hit a marker on both of them, Matt. You know, without slipping once. Guess how long? 3 years, 7 months for paroxetine, 3 years, 5 months for Xanax. So I think this guy who had a video that it's not, you got to look forever. He took the same thing. He took 15 years of Paxil and like 14 years of Xanax. He says your brain will start hitting headway at like 36 months.
Mm-hmm.
No two brains are the same. It's just so hard. Because not that I want to ever take that thing again, because if you take that, your problem's right there and then it comes right back after it goes away. So I would never do that. But the same thing, I just want to be normal again. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want my flight or flight going off. I don't know if you understand that, like as far as my amygdala, and I'm like high stress.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I can tell
I don't talk to people.
Tempo that you're speaking at.
Yeah, and guess what? When I don't talk to no one, I just calm down.
Yeah.
And I like what you said like 40 minutes ago, because my mind's all there, where you said, try to not focus on health anxiety, because I'm real ramped up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, even though you're thinking about it, find a hobby, whether it's chess, whether it's something that takes away. And I was going to ask you not to get real anal. So if I find a thing on like listening to you, like when I do my cardio, or listen to this guy named Leo on longevity, I like to listen to health and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
That's leisure. That's not bad for my subconscious, right? Or should I find more of a hobby?
I wouldn't use the words bad for your subconscious, but I would find something that's unrelated completely.
Okay. Like what, because I do work out and I lift weights.
I mean, anything, but you've got to get the wheels to stop turning. And especially if this is part of the concern, the last thing that your brain or your physiology needs, your nervous system really, is more information, right? It needs, you ever do something that you really enjoy and you lose track of time and like half a day can go by and you wouldn't even know it? That's what you need.
Yeah. It's been a long time, but one other thing I'll tell you, and you'll never believe this about me, and things are changing, whether, like you said, just keep going, because you got to still keep going with getting off these things. Because remember what I said, it's not going to take 15 years, but it ain't going to be better, maybe 3 years and 5 months. I can sit in my bedroom, this is like a long time, and I sit there and my mind doesn't even think like right now, and I'm excited to talk to you. And I just sit there and I just clear my mind. But guess what the problem is? I don't have sped up thoughts like what I'm doing right now. I'm excited to talk to you. I sit there and I don't sleep for 3 to 4 hours. I sleep every night and I go to bed at 4 in the morning. And then I get up at 11, which is terrible because I work. But guess what my job? I work 12 to 7. Do you understand? So
mm-hmm.
I got in arguments with family members. It's not like I'm working third shift,
mm-hmm.
but the same thing. I know I should get up at like 8 or 9.
Right.
But I can't go 2 months and not sleep and get up at 8 in the morning and sleep 3 hours until I get what would you do if you were me? I don't want to stay up late, and I don't have my clock's off. It's been like this for 5 years.
What would I do if I were you?
Any tips? Or
yeah, I'd start getting up at 5:30.
Would you try to get up a half an hour? What?
Start getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I mean, I don't want to say the
Well, if
wrong
I go to
thing.
bed, I'm going to bed at that time. Do I stay up for a day and then try to get back on sync? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I don't want to say the wrong thing and then, get choked out. You said you were a retired UFC fighter.
No, I know you don't want to be liable for it.
No, I'm kidding with you. I'm joking.
Yeah. Real quick, without freaking me out. Do you think it's like, say I have all these problems, do you think me sleeping from anywhere from 11 to 12 o'clock every day, right? Do you think that's real bad on me that our body's designed to get up like 4 hours earlier? Is that playing a big role?
Yeah, your circadian rhythm is totally fucked up. I mean, you should be asleep between 11 and 3 a.m. Like that's a critical.
I know.
That's a critical time. There's different things happening during the different stages of sleep, and if you're not getting it long term, that could be not so good. I mean, yeah, I would try to improve that if you can. So you go to sleep. What time do you go to sleep? You said 4:30 in the morning.
I go to bed if I'm lucky. You're gonna make at 4:30 in the morning. See, I'm at sleep by 5. So listen, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I sleep solid. I'll get up to let the dog out and I go right back. I get like 6.5 hours. I used to get 8. I don't know, because when you get older. So yeah, I go to bed between 5:30. I don't know, Matt, between 4:50 if I'm lucky, no later than 6, and I sleep till like 12.
Yeah,
but I justify it's better not to sleep. I hate it.
Start getting up earlier. Start getting up at 10. Get up at 10 for a little while and see if you can go to bed early. Or, I mean,
just have to work on that, huh?
If you can, I mean, the real way to fix it is just start getting up at 5:30 in the morning. 2 days of that'll fix you right up. Unless you're a person that can run on no sleep. I'm not one of those people, but.
No, I'm not either. I like sleep. I just get irritable. I'm not saying I get, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
I need sleep, so I've never had.
Franco, to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff that you're describing is kind of intertwined. I mean, your nervous system seems like it's on overdrive. That's going to affect your sleep-wake cycle. It's going to really mess with your circadian rhythm or what your perception of it is. It also makes a difference when you start getting light in the morning, like when your eyes see light. I have something that I want you to look up, and I've been thinking about this since you first mentioned the SSRI thing. There's a device called a CES device. I have been using these for...
Like a Fisher-Wallace?
Like a Fisher-Wallace. Mm-hmm. That's it. You have one?
Yeah. No, I heard.
Okay. There's a bunch of them.
Did that help me sleep too, or is that gonna...
Over time, it sounds like you have a serotonin and what do you call it? Mismatch. Like there's a little bit of an imbalance in there. Yeah, serotonin and dopamine. I would recommend looking into a CES device. Either there's 2 of them that I would tell you to get. I've had a bunch of them. The Fisher-Wallace is fine. There's also a company out of Canada called SOTA Instruments, SOTA. They make a brain tuner called the Soto Bio. What's that?
I'll get it right now. Let me write it down real quick, man. I'm sorry. I didn't expect to write it. Let me get a pen.
That's okay.
I'll have to get it then.
That's
and
okay.
I heard it. Now I can't find a pen. Down, I'm in the basement.
You got the basic idea, though. The Fisher-Wallace is a CES device, just like any of the other ones. I would recommend you looking into that and maybe purchasing one of those and then using it once or twice a day. And get your, especially for the SSRI part, get your brain to rebalance the natural secretion of your chemicals on its own. And that can have a huge effect on those cycles.
All right. Thanks, Matt. And the one in Canada, real quick, is that one cheaper? Because that Fisher-Wallace one's like $700 or $800, I think.
Well, here's the deal. I don't make videos about this stuff because most of it's not FDA certified. The reason that the Fisher-Wallace is so expensive is because it is FDA certified, and you have to get a prescription, which you can pay $50 for. That's easy to get a script. The SOTA Instruments from Canada, they won't claim any type of improvements like the Fisher-Wallace, but it's the same output, like on the actual device. It's called a SOTA Instruments is the company.
It's called SOTA.
Yeah, SOTA.
Soda, like a soda can?
No, SOTA. T is in Tom.
SOTA.
Yeah, Soda Instruments. And the device that you want is called a biotuner.
A biotuner?
Yep.
I can remember that.
Yeah, and if you ask them a bunch of questions like this, they won't answer them.
Okay. We're like living in a gray area. I like it. This paradigm we're living. No, it's just the world we live in today. It's like what's left is right, what's right. No, I understand because this is how the world is, unfortunately. So try that. And like you said, the sauna and just hitting everything and trying to work on my sleep, right?
I would 100% try a CES device for you. Based on everything you've said on this call, I mean, I would order one of those, buy it. And I don't usually tell people to spend money not knowing if they can or not.
Man, I believe everything you say, not saying your gospel, but I don't see any what's the word in you? I don't see any deceitfulness, or you don't have an angle. You have a pure soul. I'm saying that honestly. I know that. And I have good discernment when it comes to people most of the times.
Yeah, not with this.
I don't get busted for a big scandal. No.
No, I don't promote I don't promote the brain tuners, but I use them myself.
Yeah. It's called a biotuner.
Yeah, the Soda Instruments is called a biotuner, but basically all of these are brain tuners.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And then quick, and I'll let you go on this note. I heard that these things, and I was looking a couple years ago, I was going down that rabbit hole. I heard these things help you with your sleep too. Is that true, or could they?
Absolutely.
Or is that just the Fisher-Wallace myth?
No, 100%.
Okay. I haven't studied that in a couple of years. Like I said, my mind's all there as far as cognitively, and like I read books. I can't explain it. It's not like I ever stay up. I have real quick, and I'll let you go on this note. I keep saying that. They say I have PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder, and major depression. So it's not like I'm bipolar if I was, or schizophrenic. Not that this ain't a psychology show or schizophrenic. Mental illness doesn't run in my family, but I had some traumatic things when I was a kid. We're not going to go there. But my point is, so maybe that was it. Like, say, God forbid, if I seen my father, and this is not the case, shoot my mother, your body would shut that down, right? And then years later, because I haven't had a problem until I was like 28 years old, right, when I was a little kid. Yep. If that makes sense. So yes. I think that's where it all stems from, Matt. Someone did something to me, unfortunately. So.
Well, a self-protection mechanism. And then, I've got some people that can help you with that if you want. I'd have to talk to you about it off air, though. I don't know if you've ever done any hypnosis or anything like that, but I've got somebody that can help you with that. Okay.
And I heard of like NLP. I don't know if I never did any of that stuff. I just heard, my mom wanted me to get acupuncture, last thing. Mm-hmm. What's your thing of that, or not for me?
Based on
Did
everything.
That help me with anxiety and the panic?
Based on everything you're saying, especially that list that you just rattled off, I think you need to order a CES device like today.
The one we just talked about from Sota thing. I'm on it now.
Yeah, I think you can get it from Amazon if they have it in stock. I think it's a little more expensive, or you can order it direct from, I think it's sodainstruments.com or something like that. But any of those,
God, I'll be pumped up. I don't know. Wow.
Any of those that you can get your hands on, you need to use that. Give it a couple of weeks. You'll probably use it the first few times, and you may or may not notice certain stuff. But I would definitely get on that and use that for a while. I think it would really help you.
And I'll call you, God willing, in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to keep bothering you, but I'll let you know. Oh, and a couple other things, like every morning, Matt, and I've done this like gospel for years. Mm-hmm. Like my gut, your stomach, say I get coffee in with, knock on wood, is phenomenal. I don't have a problem, like as far as using one or two. Mm-hmm. And my kidneys and all my blood tests. I just got my vitamin D levels up to 67. For years, they're out of range, and I take like a real expensive vitamin D3 with it. Guess what I drink every morning for 4 years? I get water where my sisters make fun of me. I get distilled water delivered, right? And then I put lemon juice from Costco, and then I have pink Himalayan salt. My sisters go, "You're the only person that takes away from water to put in water." Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm a water guy. And then I don't drink nothing but water, and thinking these little things are going to help me not to deal with my issues when I was a kid. Yeah. So I'm hitting this thing with the X. So every morning I drink 32 ounces of water when I get up around 11:50 to 12:30.
Right.
And I put a heavy shot of that, and it's one ingredient, 40 lemons from, that thing. Mm-hmm. And then I don't eat till 7 o'clock. I go to the gym. I eat in a 2-hour window for 4 years, man. I fasted for 3 days to heal my brain coming off. But now I notice there's some things reoccurring and there's nothing changing in my life. I'm working now for 9 months.
Right.
So
good.
I got to get that thing. That was the whole thing where maybe that was why I called you. I just letting you know, and I appreciate you for going in a whole nother direction. And like I said, I'm a big fan, and maybe I'll call you in a week after I get it. We could talk about that other thing you mentioned if you know people.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely check in with me. And if you can't do it on here, I don't know if you sent me an email before, but just send me an email or if
no.
Okay.
The only thing I have for you when I ordered my Radiant House Spa, remember I got a thing, it says Matt Justice 500 and they actually gave it to me. And then the guy gave me $200 off because it's been so long. Yeah. So I got this 2-thing E2 that's coming next week. Not the, you know how the prices stayed to change.
Yeah.
I got it for I owe $3,000. I'm paying tomorrow because they're shipping it next week, but I got the real discount. So I'm excited to get that thing. It'll be here in a week. I'll give you in 2 weeks, hopefully I'll tell you the update of the 2 things I got. That thing I'm going to order tonight. And then that 2-person thing with the towel rack, the E2 Elite, whatever, you know.
Awesome.
But that's the only thing I got from you is when they showed me my PDF thing. I don't have any of you. I don't know if it's personal or as far as like to email you or if I should just call you down the road. Meaning like, I don't know. Do you have a...
Yeah. If you go to one of my main websites, like the cleverleverage.com one, you can just use the contact form. Those go right to me. I mean, obviously I'd rather talk to you here and see what's going on, but
no,
if you want to,
no. And I'll give you an update. So yeah. And last question, are you on Instagram? I just saw help people. Are you? No.
I have it, but I've never uploaded anything. There's like 5 pictures there. I haven't used it in a few years. I was thinking about starting that up because I need a way, you know, I people keep asking like, oh, you're supposed to make this video and do this and do that. I'm working on it, but when it takes longer than it should, it would be nice if I could just snap a picture of something and say, hey, working on this. We're 2 weeks behind, but you know, it's in here. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I just don't know what the best platform for that would be, but I thought about using Instagram for those type of updates. What do you think?
I think just like with this thing, it's just getting that ball rolled. I think not that you're going to have like The Rock 200 million, but I think after a while or easy range you'd have, and it's just like your niche audience, you could easily within a year have 5,000 to 10,000 people. What the people like what you do, you're not trying to win over millions, but I think you would do well, Matt, for sure, if you do it. Because I'm going to tell someone it's more of a word of a mouth and it's a smaller community. I think you would do well with Instagram.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you.
I just go on for health and nutrition. No, for sure. So that's just my opinion. I would like, because I think a lot of people were asking, I'm like, does he have an Insta? You know, and that's why I said, oh, I got to ask. And then I have it in my notes right here. So
no,
that's what I go on Certified Sauna. Yeah. And I go on YouTube to get a hold of you.
Yep. So you can do that.
All right. Well, I got everything I need. You make me feel a little bit better. Just like I said, there's a little hope. There's that little dangle hope. Not that I'm like in dire straits, but like I said, this has been a storm. You don't have no idea. I'm really downplaying it, but like I said, and we all have our crosses to bear. No pun intended. So
no, I understand. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, thank you. So, Matt, thank you for all you do. I know you hear this all the time. Have a good night, and I'm going to do that thing, and I'll keep you updated whether I call you next week or I might wait 2 weeks when it's here, and then I actually have a little time. I'm going to. Whether I do it privately or just shoot you a little thing, all right? I'm going to order it right now.
That sounds perfect. All right,
thanks, Frank. Matt, for listening to me mumble on, all right, man? All right?
All right, have a good evening.
You too, man.
All right, bye-bye. All right. Am I missing anything in the chat here? I'm getting tired, guys. I know I missed another call or two, but it's almost 10 o'clock my time. I need to start winding down. I have a different sleep-wake schedule than Frank. Well, for now, unless I stay up on these things all night, and then I won't. Thank you, guys. I know I missed a ton of stuff in here. CC, all the regulars, Truth Provider, Royce, Jules C. There's a ton of things in here. Hopefully, Jules C. I don't know if I answered your question about the full spectrum. I know I missed it. You put it in there twice. I caught that. Wasn't ignoring you. I just can't type and do all this stuff and listen to the calls at the same time. Lots of things about Therasage, Truth Provider with the jokes on the weather forecast, hair mineral analysis, Bruce Lee, coffee bad for your adrenals. Yeah, if you have adrenal stress, for sure. Truth Provider, brain tuner, it's very cool. You should look into that. Everyone should. Thank you, Truth Provider, for being here. CC, good to see you. Definitely helps. Probably can easily get millions of followers. I don't want millions of followers, CC. You know, I really don't care about how many followers I have. I do monitor YouTube view metrics, which are over 100,000 viewers a month, which I think is cool. And then that's separate from the websites, which is great. But don't need a lot of subscribers for that. Let's see. I think that's it. I'm getting tired. If it's not it and I missed it, I'm really sorry. If you guys have any questions that I missed and I should not have missed, you can always go to cleverleverage.com, use the contact page. Give me a day or two to get back to you, but those contact messages go straight to me. No one else sees them. So for any follow-up from these calls, any additional questions, anything that I missed, I will get back to you there. Great to see all you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I like to see the regulars. How could I forget Chet? Chet made it this week. How are you? How are you? Like you haven't been here for an hour. I really am getting tired. Good to see everyone. I hope you guys have a great night. And thanks for tuning in. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m., I'm going to try to stick with the same exact schedule, but I'll do exactly what I did today, where a placeholder goes up during the day beforehand, so you know for sure. Last week, I was in the air, missed the call. Sorry if somebody was looking for it. Got a couple of emails about that. But good night, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you very much for tuning in.